There are two specific positions that you could use that is very simple, because putting something inside of something that has never had anything in it before. Love making, unless agreed upon beforehand, is, a mutual dance. It is you and your woman dancing in sync. Remember, not all virgins bleed, though. So doing it for the first time or popping the cherry is a strange experience, no matter the circumstances. It can be weird, it can be, awkward, it can be pretty much uncomfortable. But when you take it slowly and listen to your body, it can be very beautiful, an experience to have. There is nothing to worry about. And I don't believe that, first time popping the cherry should be very, very painful and, awkward and all. I don't believe that. All right, everyone has got to have a first time after all, but then again, you need to understand how to go about it so that it could be less painful for the woman and less painful for the man as well, because I've heard that men sometimes get their cap turned in the beat to want to penetrate, which should not be the case if you really know what you're doing. But then again, not everyone waits, but it's totally okay if your choice is to wait. As a matter of fact, I would encourage that, because you will not have to carry a lot of sexual baggage when you finally meet that one person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Trust me, a lot of people go into relationship with sexual baggage, and that invariably affects the relationship. So now, in case you're ready to, pop the cherry, but you're not sure what to do, what to expect, here is what to do to make sure that your wedding night is a tender, loving, pleasurable experience, not just for you, but for your partner as well. And that's if you're still a virgin, okay? Number one, do your research. You don't necessarily have to practice everything, especially when you're single. You don't necessarily have to practice it if you don't want to practice it, but just learn. It's not a bad thing for you to learn. Have knowledge, so that when it is time, when you think that it's time to do it, you're not lacking. The truth is, you're not going to magically know how to do it the first time and stuff. Intimacy is not a reflex action. It doesn't just happen naturally. It doesn't come naturally. So read everything that you can find on it from reliable source, and this is also a reliable source, all right? And learn about your anatomy. It might feel silly, but the only way for you to figure out how to do something is by reading about it and then doing it. Plus, this is why you need to subscribe on my channel. Subscribe to this channel, to get all of the knowledge that I've been spewing out since 2020. I'm thinking so, because we're almost hitting 2 years on YouTube. Number two, get to know your body. First, you need to understand that it's not all virgins that will bleed, and not all virgins have hymen. Now, the hymen is a thin, fleshy tissue that is located at the opening of your juicy pot. And trust me, there is a lot of confusion about the hymen out there. Many people think that the hymen totally covers the opening of the juicy pot until it's stretched open, but that's not usually the case. Most of the time, the hymen naturally have, a hole big enough for menstrual blood to come through, and for you to be able to put a tampon in comfortably. Now, some people are born with so little hymenal tissue that it seems like they don't have hymen at all. In rare cases, people have hymens that cover the entire juicy pot opening, or maybe the hole in the hymen is very small that they might need to see a doctor to undergo a procedure to open it. Your hymen can be stretched open for the first time or the second time that you try it, and also note that there are other ways that the hymen can be stretched out. Maybe riding a horse, riding a bike, doing tedious sports, or putting something into the juicy pot like a tampon, finger, or your toys. Those things can actually stretch your hymen or maybe break your hymen. And once your hymen is broken, it can never grow back. Once it's stretched, it can never grow back, all right? Now, moving on, whatever your thoughts or your beliefs on self-pleasuring is about, I need you to know that it is very healthy, because learning to self-pleasure yourself helps you to know your body very well and figure out what you like. And this is a very important information to have at the back of your mind when you embark on intimacy for the first time with your partner. So if you're worried about the old myth that self-love makes you want, intimacy less, Don't be, because that's not true. It has actually been shown to make you want to have intimacy more and invariably get to know what gets you off, what pattern of stroking is preferable, what pattern of touch is preferable, what consistency, what rhythm you like. Also, having this knowledge helps you teach your partner what you want in bed and what feels good to you. So basically, just take out time to notice what brings pleasure to you, and with that you'll be able to teach your partner what places gets you really highly turned on. Do you get what I mean? And don't be afraid to explore, because ultimately you want your first time with your spouse to be wonderful, all right? And this means you need to do some field research. You need to do some field work all by yourself beforehand. Number 3, do not rush into penetration, my darling. Do not. That's one of the mistakes that first time poppers make, especially if the man is also a first time popper. You need to focus on foreplay on your wedding night. A big mistake first time poppers make, again, is having to rush to the big finish. I know you feel like you've been waiting forever, especially for the man, but now is not the time to be hasty. Now is not the time to rush. Listen to what your body is telling you and listen to your partner. Like, assuming they're also lacking experience, he or she is going to need to slow down as well. All right? Take time, kiss, lick, touch each other's bodies. Try oral play before you try to dig into the juicy part. Do you get? It might be scary for you, but it's worth it when you take your time. So if you rush into penetration, it will be painful. It will really be painful, especially if the woman is not really lubricated. You want to be prepped up. You want the woman to be prepped up and ready to go as well. All right? And this brings us to number 4. Use lots of lube. No matter how wet you get, no matter how wet the woman gets, the nerves of the first time will probably inhibit lubrication. It will probably prevent you from getting wet and wet enough. And the truth is, no one ever gets wet enough. So lube should now become a staple of your sexual routine, because you're putting something inside of something that has never had anything in it before. Do you get what I mean? So you will need a lot of lube, I promise you that. Place a generous amount of lube on your partner's joystick and on your vulva as a woman. It will definitely help everything glide or slide through more smoothly. If your wife is doing it for the first time, men, now this is what you need to do. When starting the night, you need to go slower. See, the emphasis on today's topic is going really slow, because you want to be able to make sure that her first experience is not so uncomfortable. So you have to go slow and you have to be thorough. You have to be patient. So start with what you both are comfortable with, like intense kissing, and then deliberately, one step at a time. You could start with one piece of clothes, remove them, and while you're removing, you can just kiss every inch of her skin, and then add some tongue here and there. And if you're an experienced man, you're going to ask her to take off your shirt or your clothes or anything that you're putting on. Love making, unless agreed upon beforehand, is a mutual dance. It is you and your woman dancing in sync with one another, in sync. All right, so make sure that she's actively involved as you are actively involved in her. So you would have to lead her for some of the activities, and then she can take the lead in other activities. Once all the clothes are gone, then you can move on to oral. Make sure that you put a lot of foreplay into this. I cannot overemphasize, foreplay is needed if your woman is doing it for the first time, or if you're doing it for the first time. Because most women cannot reach their orgasm through, penetration, through insertion alone. All right? You have to involve the powerhouse. It is essential for her to feel the most amount of pleasure. Ask her to tell her what she likes. If she likes you to go slower, if she likes you to go harder, then you can do it. But being her first time, I would advise that you go super slow so that it won't be that painful. I don't think first time love making for virgins should be really painful. Like I said earlier, I think I made mention of it. A skilled man should know how to work his way through. And to limit the discomfort when trying to have penetration, please finger her first and start slowly with one finger that is lubricated. Then you could slip it in as you tease her with your mouth, and then you could spend at least 30 minutes simply focusing on her pleasure, and no need for a watch. So if you think that you've spent enough time down there, spend more time, because everyone underestimates the timing. All right, spend more time until you see the hunger in her eyes. you see that she's super heightened, she's relaxed and ready to be popped, to be plucked and made a woman. Just then, you should glide in slowly with the cap first. Wait for the juicy part to accommodate it, just the cap. Your joystick is bigger than the hole, so you need to slowly put the cap, right? And wait for the juicy part to accommodate it. And of course, while you're busy with other intimate activities like, you know, caressing her body, kissing her and all of that, then slowly push in a little deeper, like an inch, and then wait for the body to adjust to the intrusion until you reach in deep enough. Then you slowly pull out and push in. Slowly until it is easy for you to move through the tunnel. All right, remember, not all virgins bleed, oh, not all virgins bleed. So that tomorrow now she tells you that she's a virgin and you enter into her, she's not bleeding, and there is no stain on the bed sheet, and you're like, okay, so you lied to me. No, she didn't lie to you. She did not lie to you. And it could be as a result of maybe tampons, or it could be maybe exercise, some sports that she was involved in. So don't go thinking that all virgins will bleed. But nevertheless, have it at the back of your mind that no matter how slow that you go, it's still going to be uncomfortable. It's still going to be uncomfortable for her, all right? But at least make it less uncomfortable. Number 5, choose a simple, comfortable position. You can't be trying to deflower a woman and you're doing doggy style, or you're doing what do they call it? Which other ridiculous style? All these weird styles. No, you cannot be doing that. There are 2 specific positions that you could use that is very simple, because you don't want to hurt her. Because it's a new terrain for this woman, and it will often feel like physical pressure for the first time. And so you might just want to stick to one position, either the missionary or the spoon position. The spoon position is easier because it leaves the opening very easily accessible with less hymen intrusion. All right, remember I told you the hymen is partially covering the opening, but obviously you could change it up later on. But for the first time, you just want to see how easy everything feels like. So go for the position that is most comfortable for you and for her. And when you're in doubt, go for missionary or for spooning. All right, spooning and missionary are your best bet for deflowering a woman. And I think I prefer the spooning position because it just allows you to glide in from behind, you know, without intrusion of that hymen. Okay, so spooning position is when she lies down on her side with her back facing you, and you just come hugging her from behind and sliding it in. So trust me, your first time can be magical. It can be a magical experience if you follow through this little tips that I've given to you. You want it to be good, your partner wants it to be good, and I want it to be good for you. So just remind yourself and your partner that this is the first time of many pleasurable experiences that both of you are going to have together. And to this end, I say well done for keeping yourself to this moment of your life. Now go explore the world of great pleasure with your spouse that God has given you. All right, until next time, keep living the fab life.